What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Alienware M18 with a 7900M gameplay video for you. Well, not gameplay, but I knew I was going to mess up again. Benchmark video for you guys today. Now, I had already made all these videos once, but that was without the correct driver. So I figured I'd do my due diligence now that the correct driver is launched. I wish they would have had it a couple of days ago when I first made the video. I purposely waited a little bit to see if they'd come up with one, and they didn't until I'd already finished my shit. But it's no big deal. I don't mind redoing it, and then I figured I can do an even better job this time. We'll just go through pretty much every conceivable thing you can do, except for sitting there adding ray tracing constantly. We all know AMD doesn't like that much, so we'll do that for the first bit. We'll do Ultra with like ray tracing and throw FSR at it, throw frame gen at it, so long as it actually doesn't crash or anything. But with the correct driver, it didn't on the Asus, so hopefully it won't here. And then after we're done doing ray tracing, we'll just turn that off permanently and just deal with rasterized Ultra, then go down to high. And we're gonna stop at medium because it seems to act up and not like low. It starts adding weird chunky blocking patterns like it did on the Firebat. So must be an AMD thing or a low thing, one of the two. But we don't need to be looking at that. So we'll just skip that one this time around. But that's pretty much that. So why don't we go ahead and hop ourselves into the game? And also hope OBS works. It did for some reason this time around on the G15 Advantage, even though it didn't last time. So maybe this one will too.
So we're gonna start off right here. Just maxed out native, and then we'll just do what we did on the rest of the computers. Although I'm not going to go all the way down to low. Low seems to be terrible on this. It has like weird errors and graphical anomalies. No fun. Well, all right, it actually averaged 68. Not bad at all, though it did have some drops under 60. It's not like it stayed 60 plus the entire benchmark by any means, but still did all right. So I guess let's move on and turn on a little FSR and see what that does for us. All right, now is the time for a little FSR here. Now, obviously, even quality FSR is not going to look great when you're only at like 1200p, which is only slightly different than 1080p. It's basically 16 by 10 version of 1080p. That's the way I explain it to people. All right, here's what it got with a little FSR. Definitely playable. I do believe it still had some minor drops, like I mean very minor, 59, 58 kind of stuff. But anyway, let's do the next bench. All right, now it is the turn of frame gen. And frame gen seems to work really good on this thing. But I think just like on NVIDIA, like the newer versions of the cards just do a little better at it. The old cards can use it, but the new cards just do better at it. So now here's what it got with frame gen. We got 144 fake FPS. But I think we only got like 97 or something like that at 1440p. Or no, we did a little better than that at 1080p. I think we got like 120 or 115 or something like that. Well, let's do Ultra without ray tracing now, just to see what it can do. So we'll start native and go from there. And alrighty, let's do that bench. All right, so here's what it got: 74 average. And all right, let us move along. So, all right, now for FSR on quality, that's what it does on Ultra. And now with that, let's see what it do. All right, so here's what we got this time around: 84, definitely bumped up a little bit. And we are on the right GPU now, or driver. So now, let's go do frame gen. All right, so here we go, frame gen now. So let's go see how the frame gen handles it. All right, so 154 fake FPS this time. And all right. Now, I guess we can tone it down to high and see what that does. All right, so now we're going to do high. Of course, we'll do it on native first. Then we'll do frame gen, or FSR, then frame gen. Well, all right. So, we got 79 this time around. Still more than playable. But let's go turn on some FSR and see how much FPS we can get. All right, so now we're going to turn on a little FSR. Now it does balanced when you're on the high preset. I think it obviously could be like this, could handle quality no problem, but we're just doing the presets. But all right, let's go see how it does. All right, so now it got 89. And alrighty, now we move on. All right, so now here we go. We're gonna do a little frame gen this time around. All right, this time around 167, but that is frame gen, so it's not real. But alrighty. Now we can go ahead and move right along. All right, here's what I would run if I was going to play on this, and this was my only system. All right, so I got 144 FPS, pretty much just like it did in the beginning. But in any case, let's go and do a quick video of the benchmark just so you guys can see how it does.
Well, alright, just like before, we're gonna just go ahead and get some cam-recorded gameplay, or not gameplay, but just footage of the benchmark, so here we go. And truth be told, I would run these settings without the ray tracing, but I kind of compromised and figured some people might still want it, so let's just run it with that. You'll get like 5, 6, maybe 8 FPS better without it. But I mean, when you're getting fake almost 200 FPS, does it really matter? Oh, nice! This is cool. This program actually tells you your true FPS. It can't read the frame gen FPS. So in reality, we're only getting like 90 FPS right now. But like I said, this is where it actually works best. 80 to 100 FPS, turn frame gen on, as long as it's not a terrible limitation, it should get you pretty smooth gameplay. You're not really getting those FPS, but it's supposed to just smooth stuff out. And when it works well, but sometimes it works like shit. It makes stuff stutter city, so that's why I use it when it works, and I don't use it if it works like shit, so. It still stutters through there, but that's mostly due to the ray tracing. It drops frames there still, but not as bad as that. It's the ray tracing doing that. Ray tracing's pretty CPU heavy. A lot of people don't know that. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know why it's CPU intensive, but that's just what I've seen. That's why games like Spider-Man 2 will run better on my main PC than on my 5800X 3D. It just doesn't have the single core performance to back it up. The V-cache is nice, but it doesn't matter if you're CPU's not powerful enough to play the game correctly, you know? Not like it's a bad chip or anything. But with certain games, it can hold your stuff back to where it doesn't get 60. It's not very common, but it does happen from time to time. Just like it adds stutters and whatnot here. Though I will say, this thing does a lot better with the ray tracing than my G15 Advantage does. But RDNA 3 versus 2 makes sense. Oh yeah, unfortunately the game just does not look that impressive for how bad it runs. I gotta say, I think I was right on the money with the RE engine just not being for this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I can kind of understand them not wanting to make a new one, but I mean, Capcom's got some money. It's not like there's some bum on the side of the road who can't afford to create an engine that works properly for this kind of game. Although who knows, maybe they can shut me up and optimize the shit out of this and make it get like 60 no problem in towns, but that never happened in Dragon's Dogma 2, so I don't think it's going to really happen here either. Call me cynical if you want, just how I feel. Most of the time I like to be, you know, on the bright side, but from what I've seen on this kind of stuff, it just doesn't happen that way very often. And then you get to the other part that still kind of sucks, especially with ray tracing turned on. The cities are still pretty stuttery. Yeah, see, we're dropping down to 100 and whatnot fake frames, which means what, 50s? Yep, 50, 40s. That's about what I was thinking. 51, 46, true FPS. I'm kind of glad I ran this thing. I didn't realize it couldn't read frame gen numbers, so that's kind of helpful. I'll have to use Afterburner if people actually want to see screen recorded frame rate numbers for frame gen games, though. Doesn't matter here because we're using camera, but... Now, see, a lot of the times, though, you're still above 60. Like, we're in the 70s most of the time, but there's still a bunch of spots where we drop. You know, I never noticed till just now, but when he dips that, I don't think he actually picks up any beans or anything. He just gets like a little bit of the bean sauce. Maybe that's what he's going for, but I don't know. Anyway, though, let's get rid of this just right quick so you guys can actually read the scores. 2730 and 159, even though it's frame gen, so it's not really 159. But there you go. And that's with the newest driver still. It's not like I'd go back on you. But in any case, that's pretty much that. It's playable. Most playable on here that we've tested so far. But still, not perfect. Far from perfect. Especially if you want to use ray tracing. But just turning ray tracing off smooths up the towns and cities to the point where I don't think they drop under 60 anymore. And if they do, it was like down to 58, 59 or something like that. To the point no one would ever know without a frame rate counter up. Anyway though, that's about that. Let's go wrap this up, shall we? Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Monster Hunter Wilds Benchmark at 1200p with the correct drivers for the game. Now, we definitely got a little bit better performance, I think, but it wasn't like night and day or anything like that. We picked up like maybe 5 FPS or something like that. You'd have to compare it to the other video, but I wasn't expecting a huge difference. I was just hoping it would smooth it out a little bit. And with this thing, I think it was still doing its random throttling nonsense. Sometimes this thing will get up to like, you know, 100C, and then it'll just have like little hiccups in the frame rates. Luckily, that doesn't tend to happen as much, if at all, on 1440. So I'm willing to bet it's going to be a smoother experience at 1440. It won't get as high FPS, but I think it'll be smoother. Hey, why don't we wrap this video on up so I can go get started on that version of this video, and we'll find out then. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.